but it's a little bit frightening because I think AI can break the financial markets as we know it.
Let's get into AI. Tim, recently we've seen this huge rise in the use and interest of artificial intelligence via, artificial intelligence picture generators. You type in a picture and the computer will make it. And then, of course, with ChatGPT and Google coming out with their own, I think it's called Bard. How are you thinking about AI, and how do you think it'll affect markets and trading?
Well, let me talk about ChatGPT first because I've spent quite a bit of time since December messing around with that, and I've used it to even write a few things. Uh, ChatGPT is really fun as an AI tool, but it's also really, really dumb. I mean, it's a stupid brain. It's a little bit surly and it's got an attitude when it talks back to you sometimes. My experience was that it couldn't do proper math.
Really?
It couldn't do basic multiplication sometimes. Most of the time it could, but I was trying to work through. It certainly couldn't do some of the calculus that I was having it do, and I caught some mistakes. And I asked it. I said, "Hey, like you're missing a minus sign here in this formula," and he goes, "Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, I missed the minus sign." I'm like, "Well, how did you get that wrong?" And and it goes, "Well, I forgot to move the parentheses around." I'm like, "Well, can you do this without making mistakes?" It goes, "No." It said everybody makes mistakes. You need to check your work. You're the
Amazing.
AI of the future, right? Um,
I
so
love that.
yeah, it was. I was shocked. So the Chat GPT is not going to take over the world. You don't need to worry about that version of AI doing things. It wrote buggy code for me too. I couldn't get the code to debug. However, I think that there are some firms, and I would say BlackRock and Goldman and a few others, are rapidly developing AI trading capability, and they're going to come out with something that they will offer their best clients initially, and it will trade the hell out of anything that anybody's ever seen.
Mm.
Okay, it will it will know what you're thinking, you Scott, me Tim. It'll know what we're planning to do. It will look at all the market data. It will assess market sentiment, and it will act in its own best interest to maximize its own profit. And it'll do it faster than we could ever think about. It'll make fewer mistakes. It'll be unbiased in its approach. It doesn't have to be right all the time, right? It only has to be right 60% of the time, 70% of the time. If you build a casino where you win 60 or 7%, 70% of the time, you're making all the money. Okay.
Yeah.
And so AI is going to change everything dramatically, especially in the financial markets. Uh, but it's a little bit frightening because I think AI can break the financial markets as we know it.
That's interesting because we all, like, as active investors, a lot of people will complain about the algos. Oh, the algos are at it again, looking for liquidity gaps, looking for little moves down. And sometimes in equities, you'll get these sharp moves down and then a rip, kind of rip your face off rally back to the upside. And so if AI is going to make things happen faster, then I feel like active investors need to be even more diligent or find a way to leverage this technology for themselves.
Yeah, the interesting thing is I've sort of thought through what the progression of AI trading looks like, and eventually you would have, if you want to make money and you're a firm, you would have an AI ETF. So you'd say it's actively managed, but it's going to be actively managed by this computer, right?
Mm.
And I expect to see several of those come out in the next few years. There's only going to be one best one, right? Definitionally, there can only be one best. And they're probably going to be better than anything else that anybody else has done. So if you're an investor, you should put your money into one of these AI driven things because that's where you're going to get the most money out of it. The thing is, the AIs are smart, so they can look around and say, well, who's doing what? And if it was an objective AI machine, it would say, I'm not the best AI, right? I'm ranked number 5. I should take my investment money and I should invest it in AI number 1. Okay. All the other AIs would draw the same conclusion, right? If they're objective and unbiased, they'd say, it's best for me to take this money and not do my algorithm, but just to invest it in this AI number 1 over here. If everybody invests in AI number one, guess what happens? The market collapses because everyone is invested in one place and there's no more trading. Now, if you want to go another step, the AI would know this too, right? If I can think about it, the AI can think about it, and they'll be a step ahead. And they'll say, well, I can't be the super best because that would collapse the market. So if I'm a smart AI, I've got to inject noise into the system and make bad trades such that I don't collapse the market. And then you get into all kinds of ethics. Could BlackRock make an AI that intentionally injects noise and false information in the market in order to profit from the mistakes that you make? Right. So it feeds false market data out there in the form of price movements or volume movements. And you act on that, and then it goes, haha, it's a rug pull. It's an AI rug pull. It's possible to do that. How would the SEC police that? How would any government police that?
No, impossible.
They're so far behind. Like, they don't even know what a cryptocurrency is, right? You want to get even more sophisticated. All the cryptos right now, they're all obsolete. Okay, smart contracts. I don't need a smart contract. I'm going to take AI and I'm going to stick that in a smart contract. Now my cryptocurrency that's AI driven can do anything yours does and do it better and faster, right? Because there's no hard coding. I just have basically a sentient coin. Have we thought about that? Have we thought about sentient cryptocurrency in effect, or AI cryptocurrency? I don't mean the stuff out there that's the AI, like they slap a label on it. Hey, we're the AI crypto. That's like, putting a banana label on an apple and saying, I'm a banana now. I think all these cryptos are in trouble, right? Any smart contract based coin is in trouble because you could make an everything coin and it's just going to be better.
That's why I love talking to you, Tim, because you think 4 steps ahead. Like, you really have thought this thoroughly. So in terms of winners in AI, we saw a negative reaction because of Google posting fake information. You're talking about Microsoft's, ChatGPT or OpenAI that's partially owned by Microsoft. Everyone is looking at Bing saying, wow, Bing is the new leader. What do you think? Is there going to be one winner, multiple winners? Is Google dead in the water? How are you thinking around that?
Usually the first mover is the final winner. Okay. It's not always the case, but the first mover isn't the one that's literally first, because you can look at things like MySpace and BlackBerry, and those all crashed and burned. They weren't the first that people really wanted. The first thing people really wanted was an Apple iPhone, like that kind of interface.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook was what people really wanted, not MySpace. I don't think ChatGPT or GPT is what people really want yet. And I haven't looked at Bing. But I think Microsoft may get there first. I'm kind of surprised that I'm saying that, but I do think Microsoft sees an opening, and I think they were the first to jump on it. I think Google did get caught flat-footed. And Microsoft's got their hands in a lot of stuff. Just look at I said this at the conference. The Microsoft Office. Microsoft Office is a 30-year-old technology. It's ubiquitous. Right? We're still using Microsoft Office products without any major innovation to them, simply because they're interoperable and because of the network effects. When you put AI on the Windows platform and the Microsoft Office platform and do nothing else, you've already got the majority of the world share of your audience right in front of you. And nobody will catch up to that.
What do you think are some alternative investment ideas for investing in AI? If someone is interested in AI, how do you consult people in terms of, well, here's, some things to think about in terms of where to put your money?
Boy, you got me there, Scott. It's really scary, this AI thing. I think we're playing with a little bit of fire. It's sort of like, hey, let's invent our own God and then see what this God does. The Terminator comes to mind.
I was thinking Skynet. How can we invest in Skynet so we all drive Lambos, Tim?
Hey, that's exactly what I'm thinking about. Is is Skynet. My home network is named Skynet, by the way, in honor of that movie. But
Of course it is. Fantastic. Well, I mean, you've given us a lot to think about in terms of AI, and would like to circle back with you, maybe 6 months or a year, and then see what else has developed, see if there are any upstarts, because I do agree with you. First mover advantage, we definitely see that in terms of Bitcoin and crypto. But in terms of search and apps, you think of, like, I remember Metacrawler or something like that, or for search, or Ask
Ask
Jeeves
Jeeves.
and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And so that's an instance where first mover advantage didn't really matter. Google just came out and made it better. So I think it's really exciting to see what can happen. And really quick, maybe one final question on AI. What other areas other than search do you think AI will disrupt?
Medicine is a big one. And I think there's some good use for AI in medicine. Medicine itself has actually gone through a revolution to become a lot more data oriented. And it has a lot of problems because when I was teaching a blockchain class at university, some of my students would get up there. They had to design a blockchain project, and some of them chose medical projects, like medical record keeping, for example. One of the things I learned is that in the United States, there's no single patient identifier. Okay, so when you go from one doctor to a different insurance company to another place, you get a new identifier, and consequently, there's no coherent record of your medical history. That's problematic from a treatment perspective. Now, with AI, you don't need that, right? What you have is an assessment of what you are in your medical history, as well as your parents. And that can all be stored and maintained in a way that's still secure, or more likely, it's not necessarily that it's stored, it's identified by the AI mechanism. Tell me about your parents, tell me about your grandparents, right? You put some basic information and it will know, okay, here's your risk areas, not just because you said you got diabetes over here and cancer over here, but it will draw from a vast array of data points and be able to do what's literally called treating the whole patient. And it's a rare thing in medicine now because the insurance gets in the way, right? The dollar, the piece of it prevents some of that care from taking place, ironically. But I think AI can make assessments about your condition in a way that doctors never could.
Well, I mean, you think of the rise of teledoc during the pandemic, right? As this like new technology and stuff like that. And so I definitely think that area is ripe for disruption.